Hey you guys, it's your girl Dosh coming back to you for Real Takes. Happy Sunday. Thanks for tuning in again. I was MIA last weekend, other things were going on, so I am back. It is now review time. Today I will be doing a review to the movie Tomb Raider, and also following that I'll be doing some good juicy movie news this week that I think you guys will kind of enjoy. Some of them will kind of be, a blast from the past, so to speak. So with that said, let's just go ahead and just jump right into it. Since I said Tomb Raider, if you all recall, the adventure video game actually came out in '96. I remember vividly that particular video game, and with it being a hit and doing so well, of course, it was marketed to become, of course, a movie. Now, from there, it came out in 2001, and it did star Angelina Jolie. I know she did two of them, one for 2001 and 2003. I did go see both, and I actually enjoyed them. I was a fan of Angelina Jolie's work at that time as well as now, and I enjoyed her for the simple fact that she gave a good performance. The action parts, everything was done very well. I know the storyline was, just enough that you kind of had an idea what was going on because they were trying to base it off of the video game. Now, hence, circa, present day, about a year or so ago, they had talked about doing this, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to see it because, like I stated, when I did my reaction to the trailer a couple months back, I was kind of biased because I actually enjoyed the Angelina Jolie ones. Now, for me, I am a fan of Alicia Vikander's work, so I wanted to give it a chance, and with that, I'm glad I did because I really did enjoy the movie. Now, for this particular one, I will say they try to get it as close enough to the video game per se, and I think overall they did okay for what they had to do with the time they had because the movie was about a good 2 hours, maybe a little over 2 hours. It stars Alicia Vikander. It also stars Dominique West. It stars Daniel Wu, Kristen Scott Thomas, to name a few. And I can say they had a good cast for it. She, of course, plays a fiercely independent, girl, hence because of what she'd been through. Of course, the way they set up from the previous movie, I'm probably do a couple of comparisons at times. Her losing her father at a young age. She was a young girl. He went on a very eccentric. He was like an eccentric adventurer, and he went on another one of his trips because as soon as he would do a trip, he would come home, see her, and he would just go back out on another trip. One of those trips ended up being where he never came back. They had searched and searched, and even though he was gone, she, kept hope alive, but then eventually she kind of just became, upset at the fact that, they're not going to find him the money they spent. And she just chose to do things on her own. She was a very independent. They showed her at the beginning of the movie, she was a biker and she kind of did her work here. She made the money she wanted. She didn't want any part of her father's fortune. He's considered, Lord Croft, that's her dad. That is part of her fortune, but she didn't want any part of that. And certain things comes up where she does go to one of the meetings where they wanted to give her a key, and then this key she kind of remembers because of the note. It was kind of a very cryptic note, and she understood what it meant. Went back to the Croft manor, and she knew exactly where to go. It opened up a layer which opened up to all her father's workings that he was doing on his side business. He had a lot of businesses that were, of course, in the boardroom, but then, like I said, he was an adventurer. And she saw the video. If you saw the trailer, she looks at some sort of a video cam and she sees the information that her father told her to get rid of. And of course, to her, she did not listen, so she chooses to go on an adventure. And in the trailer, you see her, line up with a guy named Lou Ren. And I liked his character too. Actually, Daniel plays him. He's also in another show. If you all recall, he was in Into the Bandlands, which is a great show. So definitely follow him as well. He has great work. I hated that, with him, you get to see him. He's kind of like a little drunk at times within his part at the beginning of the movie, playing, poker, a lot of stuff like that, trying to make the ends meet. Come to find out he has a significant part in regards to his father, going on this particular adventure with her father. So that's kind of where they're tied together, but they don't flush out his overall storyline with him. He's kind of just there, in certain parts of the movie, that you'll see as I go on. Now they get together, and of course he tells her, this looks like, an adventure that, can cause a death, but in the end, she ends up giving him $8,000. So he decides to go ahead and do it, and you all see what happens. They end up on treacherous waters going towards off coast of Japan, and getting caught into this big storm, which makes them have to, kill overboard to get off, and then try hopefully to save themselves. She, of course, loses him in, the purge of the water, just gushing all over the place, and ends up on an island, which is the Mystique Island that she was trying to get to. So she wakes up, and of course, we have our villain of the movie. Let me get his name correct. played by Walter Goggins. He plays Matthias, and he's a good villain in the movie. He's another actor who's been in many films and many movies and many TV shows. He's like, "How are you? Why are you doing here?" He eventually figures out that she's Laura Croft's daughter, because she has certain things, a book that her father has with all the cryptic information she needs to understand why she felt the need to go on this adventure to find out exactly what happened to her father 7 years, you know, from past. And from there, she kind of sees that they're using people to open up this tomb, which is to stay locked. And there's a key to that factor with that. Now, with that said, I like the parts of the movie that's kind of based on the video games where you see her, helping them with the clues because she doesn't want to get people killed. So of course, forbids them. She runs off, whatever. But then in the end, she has to work with them. There's scenes in between where she eventually doesn't realize. I don't want to spoil it, but I mean, if anybody's seen the original ones, you kind of have an idea. She comes across her father who's heading out. Of course, every people think that he's dead, but he's really not. He thinks he's seeing things. He doesn't realize that is his daughter, and she's like, "I'm there to get you." She thought she was going to find out exactly what happened, and she thinks that she does know because the villain tells him he killed her. He thinks, unbeknownst to him, he did not kill him. He was able to survive wherever the gunshot wound that he had, and from there, they're like, "Okay, well, you need to go off this island. We need to get you because I don't want you to end up like me and stay here." But then now that he has the book with all the information, they're like, "We don't really need you." But then they know they have a loose end with her. So she ends up going back. She tries to save Louvain because he gets caught up with his adversary guys, his mercenary guys who are there to keep the flow of the work. If you see, case in point, the backdrop. So it is interesting with the parts with the action scenes, her fighting scenes. And I will say this: when I enjoyed the original ones with Angelina Jolie, they were great for what they were. Secondly, she did a lot to get herself prepared for this. Of course, the fight sequences and then her overall look, her brawn, which was nice because she looks the part similar as well as how Angelina looked. And I like that because that does play a key role. People want to see the visuals will stand out first, and then from there, you all want to see how the storyline will be, how she's going to convey her character, Laura, to us to make it look believable. For this to be, a new way of introducing us to the franchise again. So with that said, of course, they use her father against her and she decides to help them open up the tomb. And there's things about that which they learn that there's a reason why the tomb was shut and they were not to open it. And from there, all hell breaks loose with certain things, a certain virus getting out, and then, one of the characters who was a mercenary, he touches the tomb, the actual casing of the tomb to take out the particular female who was basically keeping herself enclosed. There was a reason, and they didn't realize that this thing was set up. When you read the inscriptions, when they were showing it within the walls, he reads them out. Lord Croft reads them, and he's like, "Okay, this wasn't to um, keep her forget it. This was to keep her in. There was a reason why, and they didn't really know that, and he didn't even know that, and it was all coming out to the head within the last 30 minutes of the movie. And it was a good scene impact because they're like, we can't let this get out. If it gets out across the masses of the world, it can kill so many people. And at that time, Walter Coggins' character Matthias, he had a person he actually would speak to. And let me make that very clear because the way they set this movie up, the person he was speaking to on the other end, he didn't know who it was. It could be a voice, enhancer where he can't tell if it's a man or woman. But towards the end of the movie, you do see certain hints that they showcase certain scenes, flashbacks, where you kind of have an idea who he could have been talking to because, like they said in the beginning of the movie, just like he said in the video to his daughter, I have many businesses, many things, other people that were working with me and other people who were probably going to do harm and use some of the things that he had, leverage on to use it against as bad as well as not for good. And there's a particular individual, I won't spoil that because the possibility of them making a sequel can happen. Hence the first two that came out. So I think they might do a second one. It depends on how well it does this weekend. I don't know the numbers or stats yet for how I did overall the weekend. I saw this Thursday evening. It was a packed room for me when I went. It was really done. People did enjoy it. And I'm looking forward to seeing if it does well because Alicia did a great job in this particular movie. Kudos to her because there's a lot to live up to because of the, granted, this is an old video game, but still a very fun video game for a lot of people. Like I said, Angelina did a good job. People did enjoy her. The first one I did enjoy more than the second one. I can't speak for everyone else. You all can comment, tell me what you guys think of the Laura Croft from back circa 2001 to present day one as well. But out of a 10, I get about a 7.5. I really enjoyed it a lot. And I'm hoping with the way I said it was set up that if they do, they can piggyback off of better, more of a storyline to open up because we were getting more somewhat of an origin and then throwing in a little bit of a story for us to kind of see how they could do it gradually. The director of this, his name is Roar Utak. He did a very good job. I'm familiar with his work. He's a Norwegian director. He did a movie called The Wave that I'm familiar with. So he did. I enjoyed this one. He did a great job, and I hope you guys get a chance to go see it. I think you all will enjoy it as immensely as I did. So, but with that said, I want to get in some good movie news because I have a good couple of things I want to discuss with you guys. First and foremost, like I stated, for the last couple of weeks, I've been talking about all these different kind of reboots or whichever, or just sequels of stuff that's coming out, if not this year, going into next year. Actually, a lot of the stuff I'll be discussing are slated mostly for 2019. First one being Expendables 4. The filming for that actually will be starting this summer. Now, we already know Sylvester Stallone's at the helm of this. We have some people who are slated to come back, like Dolph Lundgren. Word is out. We're not sure if Jet Li might come back. We already know the first one. I enjoyed the first one. The second one I enjoyed as well. The third one was kind of lackluster for me because the simple fact that they felt the need to put some young particular characters, action people in it that didn't do a lot. Plus, being honest, no foul language and no real bloodshed is not gonna bring out. Plus, it was PG-13, which didn't do it any favors, and it's probably why it didn't do as well. So they're gonna have to make up for that. I'm like this. I am a '70s child, but I did watch a lot of more action movies back from the '80s, and I love my action '80s superheroes. We have our, of course, Sylvester Stallone, we have our Arnold Schwarzenegger, we have our Chuck Norris. We have, of course, action wise, you can throw in there Harrison Ford as well because he was in the third one. I know Bruce Willis was supposed to be in it, and I know there were some things that kind of happened. Supposedly, rumor had it where he was supposed to get 4 million for 4 days of work, but since he was charging that, they moved him out and put Harrison Ford in. Oh, ouch. So there are a lot of other people who were in it that I enjoyed as well. Of course, Jason Statham, I enjoy him in it as well. He's hilarious, and I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to come on board. I don't know if Wesley Snipes going to come back on board. It did help him when he first got back out of his previous incidents, some situations, personal situations, but Sylvester brought him into the fold, and I thought that was a nice touch as well. Don't know if they'll be back, but I'm actually looking forward to them considering doing a fourth one. Hopefully, the storyline will be a little bit better. The first and second one were pretty decent. Also, Van Damme was in it, and I actually like him. He's another one of my favorites as well. So hopefully, like I said, it's got to have the good action, bloodshed. I mean, really. If younger, if they were trying to capitalize on a younger audience, I would think they should have left it the way it is. Don't mess with it because the whole point of that is this: if you're not familiar with the '80s, and I think most of these young adults are, they know who Arnold is, they know who Stallone is. Pull out those movies, enjoy them for what it is. You don't have to bring in some younger set of character actors to remind us of anything, whatever, to get the younger audience. I think they're kind of bright to kind of go along with the whole overall theme of the movie to understand what the basis of having these particular people, even if it's for nostalgic purposes. It is what it is, but I'm really looking forward to this. There's a person who's a part of it also, Randy Couture, and he made a quick little statement. I'm excited about Expendables 4. Right now we're scheduled to start filming in August, and hopefully we'll be able to stay on schedule. It sounds like we're coming back to Bulgaria, which is exciting. I've spent a lot of time in Sofia and Varna, and I'm excited to come back. He says, I love the people there, I love the food, and I'm excited to come back and do work there. So that lets us know that might be one of the areas that they'll be shooting some scenes at, which is exciting to see, and I'm actually looking forward to it. But yeah, it's no particular release date just yet. I don't think it'll be coming out in 2018. This makes me think this will be morely for 2019, and that's fine with me because we have a lot going on this year in 2018, summer all into fall. So there's nothing wrong with saving room for the following year because 2019 is looking to be, it's going to be their competition to bring out some more stuff, which is actually good for me, and I actually like that. So with that said, moving on. Another movie that's set to start filming this summer is Top Gun. Actually, the title for it is called Top Gun Maverick. I like that title because I was kind of seeing how they were going to go with that. Director Joseph Kosinski is the director of this. He is slated for this particular development now. The project for this particular movie for Tom Cruise, he has some other things that are actually going on, but like I had stated, when he did finish wrapping up Mission Impossible 2, he was supposed to start actually either February or March production for this. So now they said it's been pushed to start filming. That means because he had gotten hurt and injured on set for Mission Impossible 6 Fallout. So this probably make sure he has enough time to heal, set up the scene, the stories. Now, I will say this. Let me read this out. The character descriptions that are floating around is Goose's son, much older now, and of course, a new love interest for Maverick. Now, if you recall, he had a son because he had the character played by Anthony Edwards, and then also his wife at the time, played by Meg Ryan. So, don't know if she'll be in it. I'm curious to know other characters who might, come back into the fold. Be nice to see I'm not. I'm sorry. Val Kilmer, excuse me, coming back, and then just a couple of surprise roles. I would see more so them than anything. Of course, Kelly McGillis, I don't think will come back. I don't know. You never know. So that will be nice. Now, also, Tom had some other stuff that was actually going on that he was going to be working on. Doug Lemon, the director of Edge of Tomorrow Edge of Tomorrow 2, he is slated to be doing that. So he had another movie he was supposed to be working with, possibly with Quentin Tarantino, but he picked Brad Pitt. So of course he has Top Gun Maverick, and then he has, of course, Edge of Tomorrow. He's going to be working on right after, because I know that it's him, and of course, if I'm not mistaken, let me get her because I almost forgot her name, Emily Blunt, who was in the movie with him. So once this is wrapped up, he's going to go right into that movie as well. That's one thing I say about Tom Cruise. He is one of the busiest men in Hollywood, because when he finishes one movie, he just really just goes right into another movie. I don't even think the guy really takes breaks that often. This might be a little bit of a break right now with Top Gun before he starts, but he stays working. I have to give him kudos for his work ethic, because he's just, the amount of time he puts in his movies and the amount of action he does, and everything he does in his films. I give him respect for that. Now, for this particular movie, this one will be coming out in 2019, and it's slated for a July release date. July the 12th is what it states on here. So I enjoyed the first Top Gun. I'm a fan of Tom Cruise anyway, so I'm actually looking forward to seeing him in this. So with that said, you guys, if I have any more information about who else is being cast, if it's anybody reprising a role, or if anybody new, whichever, I will let you guys know about that as well. Now, speaking of a new movie that I'm looking forward to, that's supposed to have the creative Luke Cage coming on board. His name is Chio Coker, and also Spike Lee. They are reportedly developing the movie Night Watch. I had heard about this a year ago, but didn't have a lot of information on that. I'm actually excited about this because it's considered like a Spider-Man spinoff. They're trying to do kind of heroes that are not heroes type of vibe with these particular comic book characters. Like I already told you guys about Venom. We already look forward to that, because that's the movie, like unsung hero, similar to Tom Brady taking on that particular role. A lot of people are kind of hesitant about that. A teaser was dropped last month, so we're actually excited to see it. I want to see more, but I'm glad they're pushing it back, because this movie that doesn't come out till October. Now, for this particular one, this is Night Watch. The comic came out in the early 1990s, and I'm gonna give you a little bit of a synopsis with this. Okay, this is a particular series is called a sometime villain, a sometime anti-hero, Dr. Kevin Trench. He's a physician who witnesses a costume superhero being killed in battle, only to discover that the man is a futuristic version of himself. Night Watch's super suit includes a variety of bells and whistles that include a cape that responds to his subconscious thoughts, as well as a technology that boosts his strength and endurance, and also allows his costume to be self-repairing. That right there, because at first when I heard about it, I wanted to kind of know a little bit more about it. So when I discussed it today, I wanted to kind of just give you all a feel of exactly where this particular character and what his character is going to be about for the comic book. So I'm actually excited to see this, and I'm happy that Spike Lee is a part of this. That actually will be great. I'm used to Spike Lee being always involved with stuff that's more, a little bit of suspense, thriller, and more drama. So for him to come on board with this, and plus him teaming up with the creator of Luke Cage, I love Luke Cage. I enjoyed the first season. I'm ready for season 2. Just putting that out there. Netflix, let's hurry that part up. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this and seeing what they're going to bring to the table. Now, I don't know who is actually assigned to be the cast lead in this. That part is not noted just yet. Hopefully, as time goes on, we will learn more about that as well. And you already know how I will do. I will let you guys know who is the lead on this movie. That looks like that will be, I know he's going to get a lot of side eye, like, okay, Spike Lee's kind of going into a genre, you got it slippery, steps, slow steps with this, just to make sure you do it right. Being that you have the creator of Luke Cage on this, I think that will help a lot. And then with his directing skills, I think the combination is what they need, and I'm actually happy about that. This no start, no actual date for when it starts a production. So, like I said, more information will come out soon. But I did tell you about the Venom. You already know about that. That is slated to come out October 5th of this year. And as I said, I'm looking forward to that. There's another one that I'm not hearing too much about because I don't know what has been kind of halted, and that's the Silver and Black movie. I'm still waiting to hear more information if they have basically, have scanned that or if that's still happening. Nothing has come out since late last fall when I had stated this information about this. So when I know more about that, I'll go ahead and bring you guys attention on that as well. Moving on now. I kind of aged myself when I bring this movie up, but I will anyway. If anybody remembers the movie Twins, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, I did. I loved it because that was one of the first movies I saw Arnold where he actually wanted to show that he can be funny. Danny DeVito is hilarious. I'm a fan of him. He's awesome. That I want to say early 1990s, of course, 'cause I'm trying to remember the age bracket. I think it was a 95. Yeah, early 90s. Now, with this particular one, let me brace yourself. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger confirms Danny DeVito, him are coming back, and now somebody's been added to the cast. It is Eddie Murphy. Script is finished, and this one will be titled, wait for it, Triplets. Now, I literally had to do a double take, and I said, okay, I'm going to throw this in there for some movie news just to catch you guys off guard. I can only imagine where that script's going to go. That's going to be funny, but let me read what they said. Arnold had brought this up. He says he gave a brief explanation about the story for Triplets. In particular, Eddie Murphy's sudden arrival as the third brother in the film, describing the reason for Murphy's role as funny, a funny thing that happens in mixing of the sperm. At the very least, now fans of the original can get a little bit of an understanding of how this brother of Benedict and Julius has been missed for so long. So, of course, yeah, they're going to have to really tell us how that happened and how he's going to be considered the third brother that was missing from the triplets. So I'm looking forward to because I can see the amount of funny that can possibly put into this. But like they said, the script is finished, and I pray the script is very good. Like, okay, as I said with Tom Cruise, Arnold Schwarzenegger has a lot going on. He's actually getting ready to start production this summer on Terminator 6. So he's a busy man as well. So we'll have to see once he finishes this. I'm assuming they're going to go right into that movie. I don't know what else Eddie is actually working on. Hopefully he's still working on it. I've been hearing rumors, and we talked about it briefly on here, possibly a coming to America too. So hopefully we'll know more down the road with that because it seems to be tight-lipped. There's nothing else going on. We don't still know who's really the lead. I don't know what's going on with that movie, but they said it is supposed to be happening. I don't know if it's been pushed back to 19 or 20, but we'll have to see. But we do know he is on board for this. He is a part of this. We just don't know when the production is going to start for this. Like I state, I will let you guys know as I learn more about this as it goes on. The weeks go on for that as well. But I'm looking forward to this. This literally had me literally in stitches reading this. So I'm looking forward to Triplets. So with that said, now I did discuss something briefly a couple weeks ago with Wonder Woman 2, how Kristen Wiig was reading for possibly doing the Cheetah Girl particular character for Wonder Woman 2. I have heard that it's been confirmed by Patty Jenkins that she has come on board and she will be playing Cheetah Girl. I'm actually excited. I did discuss how I spoke with a friend who does read the comic and he wanted to know who it was because he couldn't remember who Kristen Wiig was. So once I showed him, pictures of her face, he's like, okay, I can kind of see it, whichever. So I said, that's good coming from him since he knows the comics. So with that, she wrote on Twitter, so excited to confirm the most thrilling news. Yes, it's true. So incredibly lucky to welcome sensationally talented Kristen Wiig to our Wonder Woman family. Can't wait to finally work with one of my favorites and so excited about what we have planned in store for you guys. Cheetah hashtag. So I'm actually excited to see that she has a screenplay written up for with Jeff Johns and Dave Callahan, who's work on Expendables and Godzilla. So she's getting some good people together to come up with a good script. And after the first one, which I enjoyed so much immensely, I'm actually excited to see the chance of this one turning out to be done very well as well. Gal Gadot, of course, will be back. I'm excited for that as well. And I'm looking forward to see what Kristen Wiig's going to bring to the table. She has her funnies, of course, when she was a part of, Saturday Night Live. She's done many movies like Bridesmaids, movies like, Whip It. She did, oh gosh, just so many, movies she's done most recently. But I'm excited to see how she turns out for this one. So with that said, I'm going to move on. There's a biopic coming out starring John Travolta that I'm actually looking forward to. It's titled Gotti. This is slated for a summer release. I'm actually looking forward to that. I am a fan of John Travolta's work, really going back to the 70s. I remember I was young, but I do remember when Grease first came out, and I've been following his work really since then. I could say a plethora of his work that I've actually been following that I love. This was actually slated to come out, they said late, but due to the fact that it wasn't going to get proper promotional marketing, the producers took it back, and they're going to release it later this summer. It's slated for a June release, June 15th, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm actually looking forward to that. Okay. So from there, it is going to be probably a good movie. I'm actually excited for him, and I'm hoping they just get some kudos for Lily to have him an Oscar and possibly Oscar, nomination for it because it looks good from the trailer when I did the trailer for it. So with that said, I had some other news I want to tell you about. I'll just say that for next weekend. With that, you guys, let me go ahead and add one more thing in there to put on there just for that. There's one movie that's coming out. I know a lot of people like Get Out, and it was done very well by Jordan Peele, being that it was a horror movie with a little bit of social consciousness behind it. But there was a movie prior to that that brought a little bit of social consciousness to itself that I remember from back in the day, and I'm going very far back. It's called Tales from the Hood. It was a Rusty Kandiev movie that was done very well. I really enjoyed it. He is in the works of finishing up script to do a sequel to it, and I'm actually excited. I didn't expect this on my radar when I came across it. I said that would be an exciting actual movie to see. And if you all remember it, I remember it starred Clarence Williams III, and he was creepy at times and hilarious at times. Now, just so anybody who is a young head who doesn't really know, us older heads do recall the movie. Let me give you a little bit of a synopsis. Now, he is considered a funeral director, and he basically brings in three dealers who he tells four certain, tales of terror to. And from there, he basically traps them within his business, and they have to listen to all these tales, all beknownst to them that they are not leaving his business, and they're being set up to be taken to his pleasure, with his, evil ways or whichever. And I'm actually looking forward to it. I really enjoyed that. That was one of my favorite, movies, to watch back in those days. And I don't have that. I need to actually get that on DVD. I have that on VHS. I need to rectify that. But it was a good, send off. I like that they recently showed a picture on Instagram where Rusty's holding the headset doll from that particular one. It was called the KKK come comeuppance back then. That's what it was titled for that particular tale, horror tale in the movie, and it was done really well. I love it still to this day. It still holds up to me, and it's still something good. If some of the people who are listening in have not seen that, definitely check that out. You will enjoy. I really enjoy that movie immensely. But I look forward to seeing who's going to be actually starring in this movie. Don't know who's cast yet. It's looking like he would like to have it start sometime later this year, so it can probably come out sometime next year, around October of 2019. That's kind of the word out that he's handing out. So I will keep you guys abreasted to that to let you all know how that's turning out with those particular slated release date or even production starting for it as well. Um, Also, one last thing. Kudos to Black Panther. 4 weeks back to back, number one, made over 1 billion, and it's finally slightly warring down because other movies are starting to drop, whichever. Shout out to Ryan Coogler. He did an awesome job as a director. So many people enjoyed the movie. I can say one thing: it surpassed box office, numbers for Rogue One and Dark Knight. So that lets you know, kudos to them. And I'm looking forward to the other stuff that's planned for Marvel. We actually have the trailer for Infinity Wars that actually just dropped yesterday. I mean Friday, excuse me, and it did an awesome job with what they conveyed in trailer two. We have that coming out April 27th because it actually was May 4th. And then from there, we have, of course, Ant-Man and Wasp coming out. And that's going to be the end of this year's 10th year anniversary for all things Marvel. So, yes, Marvel is doing its thing. I'm actually looking forward to seeing that. So we can continue on. Black Panther, of course, will be in that. So everybody who loved Black Panther, come out again so you can see him do his thing. And Infinity Wars. So with that said, you guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in again on another Sunday for a good review and movie news. As I always say, hit us up with the WBGR app. We have many segments that come on throughout the week. They would love to get your feedback, comment, share. Um, we all enjoy you all to let us know what you think. And with that said, you guys, I will see you on the next review. You guys take care. Take